When a son becomes a sidekick. Here's your look at the brand new McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Infinite Frontier Robin. When Batman finds out that he and Talia al Ghul, daughter of Ra's al Ghul, fathered a son Damien, the Dark Knight takes the young boy under his wing and gives him a new home. Soon after, Damien Wayne becomes the newest Robin, the Dark Knight's protege and crime-fighting partner. More than just a sidekick, Robin is an accomplished acrobat, a skilled fighter, and a sharp detective in his own right. Through rigorous and constant training, Robin maintains his physical edge, which, along with his knowledge of martial arts, makes him a formidable match for even the most experienced criminals. Like his mentor Batman, he uses a variety of gadgets and tools to fight crime, but his most powerful weapon is his advanced intellect. Figured before we get down to looking at Damien Wayne, I'd like to first thank the folks over at McFarlane Toys that did provide the sample of the Infinite Frontier Robin that we could have a look at in this video. Following up to that, of course, like we do in every other video, we're going to bring in the ruler so you guys can see up close how tall Damien Wayne stands. The answer to that perplexing riddle is 6 1/4 inches in height, or is about 15.5 centimeters tall. I have a sneaking suspicion you guys probably will want to see some size comparisons of what Damien Wayne looks like next to regular DC Multiverse figures. Well, of course, if there's an opportunity for me to bring in the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, were we talking about Batman Zur-En-Arrh? I was. We're going to bring him in and for, of course, some size comparisons. I'm not just bringing him in either because I'm biased towards this figure. Probably a lot of it has to do with the fact I'm biased towards this figure, but at least it shows you what Damien Wayne looks like when he's stacked up next to a regular-sized Batman figure. Of course, we can also bring in the skinned Joker, a figure we also just recently looked at here on this channel. And if you guys wanted to see what this Robin looked like next to some of the other Robins, of course, we can do that as well. We can bring in the Robin from the Gotham Knights. We can bring in one of the Minions Robin. This one has some little more difficult time standing, but we'll get him to stand up here. And we can also bring in the Robin King, which I guess scale-wise, Robin King is probably the closest in size to Damien Wayne that we're about to have a look at. But just to kind of give you an idea of what Damien Wayne looks like compared with some of the other Bat-related DC Multiverse figures. Moving our focus over to the accessories that come included with Damien Wayne. As always seems to be the case, we're going to start things off with a trading card. And once again, they are using the figure photography of Robin holding the sword. While I don't think they've done anything to change the look of the figure, they certainly have put an environment behind him and have changed the light source. So it does really give it an interesting look at least, even though they are using a figure. Down below, this is Robin from Infinite Frontier. And then to spin the card to the back, not only are you treated to the same image at the top corner, but you're also treated to his real name, Damien Wayne, with a bit of a read-up for you guys can either pause and read for yourself, or again, if you prefer to have me read it for you. You guys get so spoiled. Of course, it's the same thing I read at the very beginning of this video as well. I'm going to put that trading card to the side and add it to the rest of my collection. Of course, like all the other figures, Damien Wayne also comes included with a display stand. Nothing new to really report here. Psst. Printed down below is the DC logo, branded down below on the plastic circular stand. And there, of course, there's a singular peg up the top corner that's going to plug into either one of Damien's feet. You have to choose one, as there is no two pegs on any of these display stands. Going to move that also to the side. The figure also comes included with a sword. I certainly like the look of this sword. It is made of a softer plastic, yes. It's been painted well in silver. And I don't know if you can actually see it. It looks like it's been hand-forged. Instead of going the route of making this smoother plastic, at least they've actually given it some texturing. I do like the look of that. The sword is not sharp. Ooh! I should really stop that joke. The sword isn't sharp, but yes, it is made of a softer plastic, and it looks like they've also painted the hilt. Perhaps, if anything, they may have even sculpted the entire sword in black, and then painted the aspects of the blade and the end of the hilt in the silver. Either way, though, unfortunately with the case here of Robin, he only has one option for displaying the sword. Somebody in the back of the audience is yelling his feet. That's not even close to being right. The figure has only one gripping hand. The other hand is closed as a punching fist. As you can see as I pick up the figure. See, one hand is as a closed fist. The other hand is the gripping hand. So you really only have one choice to choose. Go ahead and take the sword and slide into his hand. At least you didn't have to fight too much to get the sword into Damien's hand. It works fine to slide in as is without having to really heat the hand up at all with boiling water or hairdryer. I do like the look of that. Definitely going to be displaying Damien here with the sword. I guess if you wanted to, too, you could also use this sword really for any other DC Multiverse figures that work well with swords. Batman's probably not a great idea, but yeah, if you can find another figure, like maybe, I'm just trying to think of Deathstroke. Deathstroke might be a good one that you could have displayed with the sword. We're going to put that, though, to the side. Getting a closer look at Damien Wayne now. I really like the look of this one quite a lot. It lends well to the idea that, of course, he's a younger Robin. And I do think proportionately they've handled the head sculpt quite well. Things like his ears, it looks like he hasn't yet grown into. He has more larger-sized eyes. This one really works well as a Robin that kind of has an anime-inspired look to it. And even though it has more of an animated look to it and vibe, perhaps, than some of the other Robins we've looked at here on this channel, I gotta say, like, the molding of the face and the paint that they've handled is actually done well here on Robin. I really like the sculpting of his hair as well. His suit is very much different than what you would expect from Robin. Sucked away are the traditional red and yellow colors in favor of more of a darker gray. Red still makes an appearance from time to time. You can see there's a little bit of red trim down the outer edge of his shoulder section here. And in darker red, you can also see he's got still the R logo. So we know right away it's a Robin. There's brighter colors, at least, of red that's used here for the collar piece, as well as the intersection of his hood. Now, hood is actually sculpted to the rest of the cape, so it's not as a separate piece. That's fine, even, because you're not really going to be lifting it over top of his head anyways. Even though he does have the larger shoulders that you would really think would inhabit or limit his articulation and shoulders, even though you can't pull off a full 90 degrees. Maybe we can fight it a little bit. There we go, 90 degrees on this figure. The shoulder pads, even though they are made of a harder plastic, still don't get in the way of things when it comes to moving the arms. Nothing is really limited here at all. There isn't a lot of paint happening here, other than just the already mentioned red trimmed down below here. I think most of his body has probably been sculpted in only just the dark gray plastic. There is some additional paint that they've added here for the pockets of his utility belt, and it looks like all his utility belt pockets, even lifting up the cape, seem to be pretty much the same all the way across. There's a little bit of paint bleed, but not too much, not to the point of even pointing it out, but there's just a little bit of paint right to the top there. But yeah, the pockets do look pretty clean overall. White against any dark surface of plastic would certainly stand out like a sore thumb. And yeah, I would say, to the credit of McFarlane's team, they've done a pretty good job of painting in the pockets. The sides of the pockets, unfortunately, don't get as much of the white, but at least you get most of the read of the white from the front of the pockets. Some nice sculpting of meshing down below in his, I guess these are still tights that he's wearing. And I do like the way that they've broken up that black with the additional gray that matches the color up the top of his tunic. This mesh color also finds its way also onto his arms, where he's got the darker coloring of red. The red, as I'm going to bring his arms up almost as if he's ready to fight, don't quite match in all the places. You can see like this little bit of red here in one of his laced up sections of his shoulder pad area matches the color of his gloves. But then this darker coloring here doesn't find a place anywhere else on the figure until, well, this part right here. I guess his collar, the dark color of red is down below here, but like his gloves, the gloves are this color here, here, and of course the inside. So he's kind of got like two colors of dark burgundy red that they're using here. Of course, he does have the panel lining done to the side. You only see just a little bit of the yellow, which I guess would be the harder place to probably paint on the cape. At least he does have a nice bright yellow on the inside of his cape. You can see the additional sculpting that they've done to the cape. Didn't really even make it smooth either. I do like that they've added a little bit of texturing on the bottom of the cape. It's a soft enough a piece as well. Like, it's a nice soft rubbery, that plastic that they've used for it. Even like his lower part of his tunic is also a softer plastic. So when it comes to certainly looking at the articulation on the figure, nothing is limited at all. One little bit of extra color that gets certainly appreciated here is the fact that they did put on like these bright green laces. Also little W's there on the side for Wayne. Really, really nicely handled figure here. I really like the look of this one quite a lot. Now looking at the articulation, though, for Damien Wayne, we're going to start things off, of course, as we always do. Why are we getting so close to the camera? Why are we getting so close to the camera? Again, one last look at the head sculpt right here. Very, very cool looking head. Having a look at his articulation, even though he does have the higher collar and he's got the hood on the back of his torso, it doesn't limit any bit of the articulation when it comes to Damien Wayne. In fact, you can easily rotate his head all the way around. You can move it up, you can move it down, and you can even rock it back and forth easily. The shoulders, mentioned already, do come out. Forcing it a little bit, you can get yourself a 90-degree angle bend. You can also take those arms, and while not being able to rotate them completely all the way around, that's where the shoulders are going to stop you short. You can get at least a 45-degree angle forward and 45-degree angle back. He has a swivel at the bicep, a double hinge on the elbow, and he does have a swivel in his hands. Still wish that the figure didn't have a closed fist, but I guess it's good if you did want to have Robin pretending like he's punching a bad guy. Maybe for that reason, it would make a little bit more sense that he actually has a closed fist. At some point, I would certainly like to see these figures come with swappable hands too, so that if you did want to decide to have him holding the sword in both of his hands, he'd be able to do that, because I think he actually can have the option to hold the sword in both his hands, but he wouldn't really be able to pull that off because, of course, he's got the closed fist. As for the rest of the figure's articulation, the upper torso is on a ball joint, though while you are moving it, you're pretty much going to be moving all of this section right here as it all comes together. The legs do split. Good full Van Damme splits on Robin. The legs go forward. The legs, of course, go back. There's a mild swivel on the top, more so just the way it's attached to the inner section of his lower torso. Robin does also have a double hinge on the knee. And for his foot articulation, not only does it move forward and back this way, you can ankle pivot it this way, and the figure doesn't have any toe articulation. It's one of the few exceptions, actually, as of late that we looked at here on the Multiverse figures, where this figure doesn't have toe articulation. Or actually, sorry, he does have toe articulation. What am I talking about? He does have toe articulation. They're really a nice looking Robin all around. Getting him once again fully on display. The question would certainly be in a case like this is what Batman would I display this Robin with? I guess for the time being, we don't really have ourselves an Infinite Frontier Batman. I guess for the time being, I might be able just to display this one, maybe alongside, maybe the three Jokers Batman. Yeah, that probably would be a good one to go with. I'm less likely, I think, probably to display him. As much as I love the look of this particular Batman, I don't think this Robin would work very well at all to be displayed with Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. It's just more of a, any chance I get to really throw this figure in there, I'm going to take it. But yeah, at least scale-wise, this Robin is small enough in stature that he's going to fit well in with the rest of other Batman figures. Whether we have an actual Batman figure to go along with this Robin or not, he is really a nice addition, not only to the Bat family, but also to your DC Multiverse collection as well. Considering the number of Robins that we've already gotten from the DC Multiverse lines, and how much more attention usually gets directed towards Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Tim Drake, it's nice that finally Damien Wayne gets his time to shine, not only with a brand new figure, but a costume that isn't a hand-me-down from a Robin that came before him. Gone away are the traditional reds and greens in favor of dark grays and dark blacks. There's still enough Robin in there, not only with the red logo there on the side of his torso, but some nice panel lining done in red, and the traditionally Robin cape which has the yellow on the inside. So there's still enough Robin to read here when you're looking at this particular figure. I do like the look of the head sculpt on this one. While I may have thought initially that the head sculpt maybe looked a little too cartoony, I still think it fits in well with the rest of the other Multiverse figures that we've gotten before. This figure is very posable, and what's slightly different on this particular Robin is the jointed system in which they attach the thighs, something I didn't mention in this review. As I was moving one of the figure's legs, I noticed it popped off, and immediately noticing inside that there was a ball joint. Instead of having that swivel hinge that a lot of the figures seem to possess, Robin actually just has a ball joint. And it works better, I think, in his favor, because it means you can get a longer splits, a wider splits on this figure. Not to mention as well, the figure has a double hinge on the elbow. I don't even think the figure really needed, for the reach that he had, to really need a double hinge on the elbow, and yet McFarlane's team still incorporate a double hinge on the elbow of Robin so you can get a good bend on him when he is holding the sword. Sadly, though, he can only really hold the sword with one of his hands because the other hand is molded as a fist. Still, though, it's a nice looking figure, and if you did want to have him uppercutting an enemy, then yeah, the closed fist probably will work a little bit better than if he had a gripping hand. Because, of course, you always have to have your fingers clenched in when you're swinging to punch somebody. Why are we talking about punching people all of a sudden? Still, though, it's a nice-looking Robin. Great job from the folks over at McFarlane Toys. Speaking of which, though, I'd like to thank the folks over at McFarlane Toys that did provide this sample of the Infinite Frontier Robin that we could have a look at in this video. What do you guys think of the figure? Let me know down below in the comments section. And for your video question for today, who is your favorite character to have become a Robin? Let me know down below in the comments section. It's not even just Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Damien. There has been other characters as well to pick up the mantle of Robin. Who is your favorite Robin? Let me know down below in the comments section. And hey, now, if you are new to this channel, you've been hopefully enjoying the content that you've been seeing as of late, digging the fact that we've been doing a lot of DC Multiverse stuff as of late as well. If you haven't already done so, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Turn on as well the bell notification so you get, those friendly reminders of whenever new videos are popping up. And while we have wrapped up things for Infinite Frontier Robin, there will be more DC Multiverse figure reviews coming your way, thanks to, again, the folks over at McFarlane Toys. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.